What is up, soul warriors? And some of you are meant to be game changers. Welcome to the end game. Welcome to the fight for your soul. Spirit wants me to talk about something really important, okay? Because yesterday, for those of you who don't know who I am, first of all, I am the one who brought about the ascension. I'm an ascension master, master healer, and divine guide. That is the simplest term for who I am. Who I am is quite complex, and I would encourage you to do a little bit of research into what I say. Okay, that's all I ask. Because judgment is not of God, and you have no idea how many people I see go into immediate judgment and don't even do the research into what I say. So, everything I've actually done is biblical. Things started happening to me after a Kundalini awakening. Clearing Mount Shasta, activating Fiji, returning the God's portal, opening the God's portal, returning the triangle with the eye, right? I undid the whole veil, cleared all of the shadow from the collective soul, opened up all of the gates, including the gates of heaven, dried the Nile up, turned it blood red first. All of this I've done through workshops, because if you know anything about the energy and the way it works, beings like myself do things in your energy. And you do it too with your manifesting, and it puts it out there, right? And it comes back like a boomerang. And so that is how the work that I do works, okay? But there's something important I need to talk about. By the way, everything I've done has been recorded and witnessed. And I've already walked about 4 people through the gates, including myself. And that is, the ascension is the return of Christ, okay? I talk a lot about what occurred to the earth, what happened to the gods, to God, to Adam and Eve, to Jesus and Mary Magdalene and Sekhmet and Horus, because those are the lifetimes that I was clearing as these things were coming through into me, and I would do them in workshops, and I talk about that a lot. Now, what gets me is I'll post some of these things on Facebook, and I could always tell when they click on the links, and they don't. They're completely in judgment. And judgment is not of God, so I would tell you be very careful with that, okay? And I've been taking a little bit of time off because my journey's been very painful. I have a twin flame who's never shown up. The first one died. And so I ended up having to do all this by myself. Okay, yes, I am the female counterpart of that. All right, that's who I am. And trust me, I can prove it left and right and the other. It's not my ego talking. It's none of that. Okay, this is actually very real. And it's been very painful. All right. But Spirit wants me to talk about the purpose of everything in your life, how everything has a purpose. Everybody you've ever met, including finding this channel and myself, to your neighbor and even your worst, what you might call enemy, okay? Everything has a purpose. Everybody has a purpose. Your job is to figure out what that purpose is. Your job is to be able to sit with those things or the emotions that they cause. Can you sit with deep emotions? Can you sit with anger? Can you sit with fear? And can you sit with judgment and go, you know what? Maybe I shouldn't judge. Maybe I should do my research. Maybe I should question things more. Maybe I should sit with them deeper before I make decisions or judgments or whatever, because it's all a part of the shadow. Okay, now here's the thing about that. Is we have been so conditioned to take things. We've been so conditioned to get rid of anxiety, and you don't even realize that the world, the matrix that we were living in is what was causing anxiety, because we were always taught to live in the future and to always think about the past. And both of those get you out of the here and the now, which is what causes anxiety and disdain and things like judgment, because you make assumptions thinking you know everything, because that's what judgment is. Let's be real, right? Oh my God, this person must be nuts, blah, blah, blah. Well, then you know everything about that person, right? Like you know everything. Let's get real. None of us really do. Hell, you guys, when I had my awakening, I didn't know all the things that were coming or what happened to the earth or where Atlantis was, or because they don't tell you the truth. Okay, everything they've told you is designed to suit those that were in charge. Okay, but emotions can be overwhelming, right? These things can be very overwhelming. Like when I say we have 2 years left, people can go into fear and think, oh my God, I better take control. You ain't in control, okay? The only control you have is being able to sit with your body, to sit with your own life lessons, and to feel them so that you can heal them, to truly sit with them. But we've been so conditioned to numb things. We've been so conditioned to bypass the universal realm, to take a pill, right? Forget about it. I don't want to feel this emotion, so I numb it. And that's a problem. As we go forward, you're going to be forced to see things. You're going to be forced to feel things you may not want to feel and you may not want to see. Maybe you're around people you don't want to be around, but did you realize that you're just in judgment now? I've heard this time and time and time again. Okay. It is important to feel these things because everything has a purpose. Everything has a purpose. It's super important to be able to sit with them. It is super important to be able to sit with fear. It's important to be able to sit with those things like judgment you may be feeling and go, and you know what? I'm not going to let that stop me. I'm going to do some research. It's important to sit with things, even if they're difficult, even the most painful things. Before my first DM died, they were energetically attacking me a lot and him, and my arm was shattered in a way that wasn't normal. Like I was like, this arm, my bone broke out of the side. You can see the scar right there. It's not normal. And I knew I couldn't have surgery. I couldn't take anything for the pain. I literally had to, and they had to squeeze my bones back together at the hospital. And it shouldn't have even happened. I like had them do all these tests on my bones because I'm like, why did that break? It was a weird break. The outer bone, the bone, the ulnus or whatever that is, ulna, it broke it split in half. And that's what broke out of my skin right there where that scar is. Kind of see it. It was gruesome. And I'm like, how did that happen? Right? Like later on, I was getting healings, and Jesus and all the angels helped me through this a lot. Okay. Including some of my graduates. But as I was doing the healings, they pulled like this big thorn out of my arm. And if you don't believe me, it's been all witnessed on this channel that you find this video upon. All of it. You just have to do your research. But it was like super painful. And in one of the healings, Jesus had pulled like this long thorn out of my arm. And I was like, I knew that wasn't normal, but I knew I couldn't take anything because if I did, we were in danger. Like my DM and I were both in danger because he was refusing to listen to God. We energetically connected, our souls energetically combined. And then we were supposed to unite Jesus and Mary Magdalene and undo the false Holy Grail. And I didn't know that. I just know that all of a sudden I connected with this person that I had barely just met and got to know. And he wasn't very nice to me. And then I realized he was my twin flame. And then all of a sudden, when Spirit called him forward, we found out he was with a fallen angel. Excuse me. And he took off. And in that time frame, I was attacked for a year straight, like mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually, and I had to withstand it. And then in that time is when I kept bringing down Christ's light more and tons of it. And then I took us into 7D, which was an accident. We weren't supposed to go into 7D. It wasn't necessarily an accident. I did it, but it wasn't the original plan. The original plan was for 5D. And so now there's more healing that is needed in order to make it through the ascension. And people, for some reason, think, no, we're all just given that right. No, you're not. Do you know all of your lives? Do you know where your heart is? Is it pure? Is it clear? Do you have judgment? Do you have fear? Do you have ego? All of those things must be eliminated because we're either reborn here or we are reborn somewhere else. Okay. It is a reset. That's why they call it that. It's the great reset. It's the return of Christ. Okay. And so while I was being attacked, I wasn't falling prey to what they were pushing on me. I had to sit through the most worst fear, the most worst pain, the worst everything you can think of. And I would just have to sit in it. I couldn't take a pill for my arm. I couldn't have surgery. And I don't even know how I'm able to use it now because they had to squeeze my bones back together. It's not normal. But I'm really proud of myself because that's why I was able to bring the ascension about. And then Spirit was calling me mahogany, which if you look that up, I had to. It means they take a lightning strike and keep on ticking. Things that should kill them did not. You have to forgive me. I'm actually working 2 jobs right now just so I can survive because people still to this day don't really do the research into who I am. They go right into judgment, which I will tell you right now, that is not good. Okay. First of all, judgment's not of God. And then when you judge the one who actually did bring it about, what do you think that does? Right? So I'm going to take a bite. Hold on. It's my lunch break. So I need to talk to you guys about this, because as we go forward, yesterday I did something with the moon and it created another rapture wave. And I had said about a month ago that we were going to have a rapture wave come through before 2024, and we've been having that. What was it? Libya? They lost like at least 20,000 people, you guys. So the earth is being purged and cleansed. And what I did yesterday is we moved the moon, and the light is going to shine on waterways in different ways, and it's going to cause a lot of shifting in the water. And that's just a little bit of what I've done. I've done that many times. So if you think at this moment that things aren't going to come here to cleanse and purge what doesn't belong here, you're wrong. And if you assume you belong just because your ego says so, heal that now, because ego won't be able to belong. Ego is not of God either. Okay. So shadow, ego, it's not of God. But here's the trick about that, is you actually have to be able to sit with things and to be honest with yourself. Keep your compass focused inward and inward only. And I'll do another video about that another time. It was 11:11 when I said that. Emotions can be overwhelming. Okay. They can be, and I'm looking at my cards. I was like, what do people need to know? And this is what Spirit said, because I didn't have a lot of time to really feel into a video. I've been taking a little time off because physically I was spent, and I've gotten blood clots that go to my head from this, what I've done and everything. And my heart took a hit. My whole body did when my DM died. And so it's a lot on me, because I wasn't supposed to do it without my divine masculine. And the new one not stepping forward, he doesn't realize it actually hurts me every day. So, you know, everything has a purpose from everything that you can feel. Stop taking the medications. Stop doing the things to numb it. Stop running from problems. Stop running from feelings, from difficult relationships, from difficult aspects of self, because we must be able to really feel into them, to really sit with pain. The anxiety, right? We were taught to take a pill to hide it. We were taught to take a pill to not feel things. We were taught to just ignore them. Oh, just stop crying. Oh, just do this. Grow up, right? Right? But right now, Spirit said we must be able to sit with these things. We must truly be able to sit with every feeling you have, every fear that arises, because fear is not of God. If you're in judgment, I want you to really, truly sit with that and reflect that back upon you. In what in me are you judging that is a reflection of you? Okay? If you're judging your own family members, like it took me years to see my mom hurt me a lot, and that in truth, she was the one hurting. Okay? It wasn't necessarily her judging me, it was her judging herself, right? In those moments, in those circumstances, in those scenarios in which she would try to push on me. Does that make sense? And so we don't really realize how much we judge. We don't realize how much we avoid feelings, because in order to heal it, you must be willing to sit with it. You must be willing to feel it so that you can get a change in perspective, so that you can do things in the light. Okay? 1333. Super important at this time to feel it, because no matter who you are on this planet, you're being forced into the decision that you haven't made yet, or you've already made. Okay? So if you're still questioning, well, I don't know, you're being forced to make a decision. You don't have a choice to go one way or the other. You don't have a choice to do one thing or the other. Okay? Your free will is in, do I choose to ascend? Do I choose to see God? Do I choose to have light in my heart? Or do I choose the shadow components? Do I choose the fear? Do I choose the ego? Do I choose the judgment? That's your only choice. Okay? So if you choose to heal it, if you choose to be like, you know what? I'm tired of this suffering. I want that promised land. I want that freedom. I want that love. I want to be with God. I want to be with Jesus, because it's already happening. Everybody's like, Jesus is coming. I'm like, if they only knew I did all the work. It's already been done. Okay? It's already been done. So no matter what, there's no going backwards, and nobody can stop it. Okay? And yesterday when I did the work, there was another rapture wave coming, and it's a big one. Because it has to be purged to a certain degree to do the upgrades for the mind expansion, right? So our whole bodies are evolving. They're awakening to who we are, the abilities we house, things like that. So part of the work that I've done is neurological system upgrades, eye upgrades, ear upgrades are actually all in my path to righteousness that I have. And so at the least that you can do is to be able to sit with what you're feeling. Okay. If you're around people and you're like, I don't want them in my life, they're too this, you're in judgment. If you're like, oh, this girl's crazy, and you don't even click on the video to see what I'm talking about, and you just go, well, I need this and I want that, then you don't see God. God doesn't work that way. Okay. We've got to be able to feel the pain. We've got to be able to feel it, to sit with it, and to not move, because that is what the shadow will use against you. Do you understand? The shadow will use all of those against you throughout the entirety of your journey. And I've seen so many people go down with their shadow. Can you take your power back? That's a big purpose in that. Can you take your power back? Take your power back from the fear. Take your power back from judgment. Take your power back from expectations. Take your power back from anything that is not of love. I had to take my power back from all of those who mocked God, and it's the shadow. It's the shadow components. And when I did Mount Shasta Part 2, I burned Archangel Samael. Okay. That is the work that I've done. And again, if you don't believe me, it's probably because you haven't watched the workshops. I actually post them a lot here for you to witness. But if you want to heal in them, that requires an exchange, because people can't even click on them and watch them without judgment. Could you imagine if I gave all of that away? Oh my. Again, we've had mocking God enough. Jesus didn't die on a cross. How many people of that does that trigger? You want to get angry at me? I'm not the one who did it. I'm not the one who filled you full of lies. But right now, Spirit said the most important thing you can do is to be able to sit with your emotions. Sit with the people that frustrate you. Sit with the fear and the anger. Sit with the uncertainty and ask more questions. Ask why it bothers you. Turn it inward and use it to heal you. Everything is purposeful. Everything going forward and everything you've ever encountered in your life. Can you see that? Or do you run from it? Are you pure in the body so that you can feel all your emotions, so that you can sit with them, so that you can heal them? Because these are the keys through. Okay? That way the shadow loses power over you, because this is a battle for your soul. And I'm not the only one who sees that, but I am the one who brought it about. And I am the only one who did that. That's not my ego, my friends. Okay? Feel it to release it. Feel it to understand it. Feel it to let it go. So much love to all of you. What kind of pain can you endure? That's a passage through, because we were all in that shithole. It's time to let it go. Can you? That way we can live again, right? So much love. Have a beautiful day. I'll see you all again soon.